Da 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 da. Welcome back, Star Wars fans. Got a Darth Vader helmet to talk about today that I made, but before that, I just wanted to say hello to some new subscribers, quite a few new. I want to say thank you to my friend Darth Rage, who is doing a giveaway and said, hey, go subscribe to Elvis too. So, hey man, thank you for that. Appreciate that. But welcome newcomers. I am Elvis. I'm the Blues Bro. I make props, I do lightsaber reviews, and just, nerdy stuff in general. But today, I want to talk about Mr. Darth Vader helmet. And by the way, if you're into this cosplay stuff, lightsaber stuff, Star Wars stuff, just go ahead and smash all the buttons on your screen. Like there's like a bell or a thumbs up, or not the thumbs down one. But yeah, click the button to subscribe. It's free. It helps me out. Appreciate that. But yeah, Darth Vader. So I have a younger son, and when I first printed, I think, what was the first thing I printed? I'm forgetting now. Oh, I made a Revan mask for a buddy in Scotland, Absolute Sabers. You should check out that channel too. But I made a Revan mask for him, and turned out pretty cool. And after we were all done with it, my son asked me, hey, now that you know how to print stuff, can you make me a Darth Vader helmet? But I want the one from Rebels, because that's the scary one. And I was like, okay, buddy, sure. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, I've had a 3D printer for like 2 weeks, and he's asking me for a Darth Vader helmet. So, word to the wise, if you are just starting on 3D printing, I highly recommend you don't do a Darth Vader helmet. In fact, I recommend against it. It's a lot of work. So, this has been such a long project. I started on this, oh my goodness, it was before October, and now it's February. So I've let it sit at lots of different stages, just because I was kind of scared or overwhelmed to try something new that I haven't done before. Like, for example, using 2K Clear was something new for me. I was afraid to use it. I ended up letting it sit in the corner until I built up the guts to go do it. And then I also had to make some eyes that were really kind of a pain in the butt to make, to be honest. And then I also had to get really good at wet sanding, which is something that I haven't really done before. I mean, I have wet sanded before, but I think I've really grasped the concept of wet sanding and buffing and polishing now. So here is the Rebels Vader helmet that I made for my son. This is the Rebels Vader file off of Thingiverse, and I scaled it down to 80%. And, typical me fashion, I printed it too small, and then I increased the size, and I made it too big, and then I decreased the size, and I finally got one that fit my son's head well. But anyway, this is a 80% scaled Vader helmet, Rebel style, from Thingiverse. But yeah, so let me show you how I made this. So I decided to print it upside down because it seemed like I could use a lot less filament, and the print overall time, print time would be less. So anyway, tried it upside down. It worked pretty well, but on the dome here, it had lots of support structure that I had to kind of clean up later. But you can see here's the three different sizes. I think I printed it in 75, 80, and 85% to get the sizing right for my son. So you can see that's where the supports were on the dome of the helmet. So I ended up going through a good amount of glazing spot putty on this, trying to sand it all down and smooth it all out. I ended up doing almost all the helmet with the glazing spot putty at one point. This was just kind of like the first pass on it. Okay, so we sanded down all of the Bondo glazing spot putty, and I can see that there are still some low spots where the supports were on the print at the top here, so kind of see it looks like these lines right there. So it's just a little bit shallow in between those lines. So I think I'll give this one shot of the filler primer, just so we can see it a little better. So sometimes you really just need to give it another shot of filler primer just so you can kind of see where the imperfections are, and then you do glazing spot putty again and filler primer again, and kind of do this little dance with the filler primer back and forth. I ended up sanding this down to 400 grit, but I really wish that I would have done 600, possibly 800, like a wet sand on it to really make this smooth before paint. I shot this with Montana Black, and it sat in the garage so long it ended up getting damaged and I had to repaint it a couple of times, but the Montana Black is a pretty awesome paint on there. Okay, we are going to make Darth Vader eyes. Man, this project has been so long that it's literally collected dust. Alright, so we need to give Darth Vader some eyes here. I have some templates made. I just need to get a little bit of a curve, which this is going to give me. You can see that it is curved, so this came with the STL, these eyes. And what I'm hoping is going to work is I'm going to take some leftover Hobart shield pieces from the Boba Fett, and I'm going to heat this up with the heat gun and get it all nice and melty, moldable. And then I'm going to place it on this, and hopefully it'll give it some of that definition. We'll see. Never tried this before. And then afterwards, I'm going to give the Hobart shield a shot of this. It's a translucent red paint designed for taillights. So anyway, who knows if I melt this, if it'll still be able to see through it clearly. You know, that's kind of the whole thing I'm trying to work around here, is how do I melt the plastic so that it's rounded yet clean enough that you can see through, and then paint it red where it's still opaque enough, translucent enough where you can see through it. So that's what we're doing. Okay. So literally every method I've tried so far has been a complete failure. I tried the Hobart shield. That sucked. It's too thick. I need thinner acetate, like a 6 mil acetate. That would probably do the trick. And then even when I did get it to curve, I painted it, and that just sucks. I mean, you can see the finish on here. It's terrible. You can't see through it, and it doesn't even look red. So, blah. Moving on. I just want to be done with this. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to paint this Smart Water bottle because it's pretty clear. You can see through it. So I'm going to try to paint this red, cut it out, and make eyes out of it. See if that works. So I found with this paint that you had to do the lightest coats possible and then let it dry, come back, super light coat. Well, so this isn't perfect, but I think it's gonna do. I was gonna do a third coat to make it a little darker, but I'm thinking that, you know, once it's in a helmet and there's no light behind it, that's probably gonna end up making it look a little darker. Yeah, that should be cool. Well, so I'm thinking before I cut this all up and start manipulating it, trying to get it to fit in the Vader helmet, I'm gonna let this cure for 24 hours and, you know, let it fully cure before I start manipulating it in any directions and possibly ruining that nice coat to it. So yeah, we'll let this sit for 24 hours, see what happens. And after it dried, I actually really like the red, and it looks good in the helmet, so that turned out. Okay, so what I'm using here is Max 2K Clear, which is a two-part clear coat. It has a little cylinder inside the can that you pierce and then mixes the hardener into it, so it's a pretty neat product. I've since switched to an automotive 2K Clear, like a professional one that I'm using in an airbrush, but you know, I just got this can off Amazon and it worked well, but it gave me some really terrible orange peel. I don't know if it's because I didn't sand it down to like 800 or 1000, or because of the, paint to this clear coat mix. But anyway, I got this really bad orange peel all over it, so I had to wet sand it. And this wet sanding took me, this took at least 2 hours, I don't know, just to do this small section here. Wet sanding takes a lot of time and patience. Okay, so this is gonna take a really, really long time. So what I've done is I've just done this portion right here of the helmet. So I did pretty quickly. I did the 1000, and then I spent some time with the 2000, and then I just gave it a quick hit with the 3000. It's not perfect. I'm gonna have to get some areas, but I am starting to see that it's making it flat. But you can also see it's gotten super cloudy versus here where I still have the orange peel texture and all that. I'm hoping you can see it. I can't tell, but this is black with the clear and the orange peel, and now here's where I've sanded it, which feels nice and smooth, but it also looks super cloudy. So now I'm going to hit it with the buffing pad and then some of the polishing pads, just so I can film a small portion of what I'm doing here so you get an idea of what we're going for. That way I don't have to film wet sanding the entire helmet, because it's probably going to take me all day. But so yeah, let's switch over to the buffing pad and see what that does. This is kind of a neat little system. Like I said, I paid $9.99, but so it comes with a drill attachment, which I will put on my very manly cordless drill. And then this has some Velcro on it, so you just take these off and put on the new pad, and then it's got some instructions here. It tells you which colors to go from color to color to color, and it just gets finer and finer as you go. This is probably the most rewarding step. So you do your buffing, your coarse buffing, and then your polish buffing, and then your polishing, and you can just slowly see it take away these little tiny lines and cloudiness from it. All right, so here is the non-wet sanded side to get you an idea. So look at the reflection in the helmet, see the light, see the bumps, and see the reflection in it of me. And now the side that I wet sanded. So you can see a lot less bumps. So that's where it's not wet sanded, and that's where it is. So I see that I'm actually going to have to wet sand this even more. I might even go down to like an 800 grit, try to cut through this a little better, because I still see there's a couple little imperfections. Might give it the reflection test. Hi. So yeah, once we do the whole helmet like that, that ought to look pretty darn cool. What do you guys think? All right, so we have our non-wet sanded side of the helmet, where we have the orange peel. And now we have our wet sanded, buffed, and polished side. Overall, I'd say that looks a heck of a lot better than the one with the orange peel. So now I gotta make this side look like that side. And that's where I stopped filming, but from that point forward, I had put the eyes in, and I just used hot glue for that. And then I had painted the little greeblies with a chrome marker, and the nose. And yeah, so I mean, it took me over a day pretty much to wet sand the whole helmet. And anyway, if you really put a lot of time and effort and elbow grease into sanding on this thing, you know, down to like a 3000 grit, and then buffing and polishing, you can really get an amazing shine on these. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. So again, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching this. If you like this stuff, please subscribe. I'm going to make more stuff, and I'm going to do some more lightsaber reviews. So yeah, hey, may the force be with y'all, and we'll catch you in the next video.